Today we're doing lesson 6.3 from visual patterns to numerical patterns. Here's a pattern of rectangles that follows a rule. Priya says each step increases by 1. Noah says each step increases by 4. And Lynn says each step increases by 2. Can you think of possible reasons that all of them could be correct, even though they describe the patterns differently? Mary, what do you think? She's talking about what? The rows? So Priya could be correct because if it goes up by 1, she's looking at this as a row. 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. That's correct. So Mary, put your tally mark down. Audrey, why would Noah be correct?
Noah would be correct because there are 4 in each round. It's going up by 4 each time.
Exactly. So this step 1 has 4, step 2 has 8, step 3 has 12. So they're going up by 4. What about Lynn? How could Lynn, personally, Lynn's was the hardest for me to see. So what is Lynn talking about? Harbor?
She's talking about times 2
So you're saying groups of 2? Yeah, so in this step, she's looking at all of these as groups of 2. So in the first step, this is what she's seeing. She's saying here's 2 groups of 2. 2 groups of 2. And then over here, it would be 2 more groups of 2. So there's 2 groups of 2, 2 more groups of 2. And then on step 3, she says this is from this one, 2 more groups of 2. Does that make sense? So all of them are right. They're just looking at it in different ways. So here's what we're going to write down. This. Number 1, yes, Priya is looking at rows. And then Noah is looking at, bless you, blocks. And then Lynn is looking at groups of 2. Okay. You better why are you not writing? You gotta keep up. So the next one says, revise the statement made by each student so that what they mean is clearer and more precise. Now instead of writing a bunch under number 2, we're going to go up to their original statement and just add a word. So if we go and look at, for Priya, we're going to write each step increases by 1 row. And then what would we add behind Noah's name? Haziel? Blocks. Yep. each step increases by 4 blocks. And then what would we add behind Lynn's name? Fisher? Nope. Each step increases by 2 groups of what?
4.
No. What did we write down next to Lynn's name? Groups of 2. So each step increases by 2 groups of 2. Okay, next page. So Priya writes the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is going to be the first 6 steps. The number that would be assigned. So remember, Priya was looking at what? Rows. Okay. So how many rows would be in the first step? 1. Look. How many rows do you see right there? Just 1, right? How many rows are in step 2? 2. So the cool thing about Priya's way she's looking at it is the step number matches the number of rows. So Priya, right on 3, I want you to write Priya, then Noah, then Lynn. So for Priya, she sees these as rows. So the numbers that would represent her first 6 steps are 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, and 6 rows. We've moved on over here. You need to come back to that in a bit. Okay, then for Noah, how did Noah look at it? Audrey?
Noah looked at it by the block.
The blocks. So how many blocks were in the first one, Audrey?
4.
4. The second one?
8.
The third one?
12.
12. The fourth one then would be?
16.
And then? 20. And then?
24.
24. So those are the numbers we need to write next to Noah's name. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And then remember, Lynn was looking at it as groups of 2. So how many groups of 2 would be in the first one? Macy? 2, because if you split it right in the middle, there's 2 groups of 2, right? How many groups of 2 would be on the second one?
4.
4. So what is the pattern?
2.
Counting by 2s.
8. 10.
Yep. So for Lynn, we're going to write 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Predict what number Priya, Noah, and Lynn will write for step 20 if the pattern of rectangles continues. So nobody wants to be drawing those and going all the way to 20, right? That's going to be a bunch of steps. So we can think though, what's the rule? So what's the rule for Priya's pattern? What are they going up by each time? Ari? By 1. So Priya's rule is times 1. And step 20 would be the 20th step, right? So how many rows would there be on step 20? 20. Because her rule is times 1. What is Noah's rule? How many?
4.
Times 4. So if he's on step 20, if he's on step 20, then what would his number of blocks be? Harbor? 80. And then what was Lynn's rule? Macy?
2.
Times 2. So if Lynn is on step 20, how many groups of 2 would she have? Evan?
40.
40. See how that works? See how that's much more helpful than drawing? Figuring out what the rule is and then multiplying that times the step number they're wanting you to find. Okay, so for Priya, her rule is times 1. So we're going to multiply the 20th step times 1 and get 20. For Noah, the 20th step times 4 is 80. And then for Lynn, the 20th step times 2 would be 40.
I noticed something.
Nope, you're not finished. All that needs to be written down. Okay. Macy, you're rocking and rolling, girl. Okay, on the next page, we have vertical columns. More growing rectangles. Here's another pattern of rectangles that also follows a rule. The number list 1, 2, 3, blank, blank, blank represents the number of vertical columns. Vertical meaning up and down. Columns are also up and down. In the first six steps of the pattern, complete the list. How many vertical columns do you see on step 1? 1. How many on step 2?
2,
3.
4, 5, 6.
Okay, so nope, we've just got to fill in 4, 5, and 6. Find another feature of the rectangles that can be represented with a number list and would show a pattern. Write at least one list of numbers for the first 6 steps of this feature. What else do you see? How else can our pattern be going up? Todd?
8.
By 8. Where'd you get 8 from?
Because on there, 4 on here, there's 4 right there, 4 right there, 4 right there, 4 right there.
So 8. So the rule is going up by 8 each time, right? So he's right. And that is the feature of area. So you guys know we've been talking about perimeter. Perimeter, which is the 4 outside, the outer, I'm drawing a blank. The side links that added together.
Perimeter.
Perimeter. Area is the squares inside of it. So the area of the first square is 8. What's the area of the second step? So 8, 16, because there's 16 squares. What's the third one? Evan? 24. What would the fourth one be, Fisher?
32.
Yeah. What would the 5th step be, Jackson?
40.
40. What would the 6th step be,
48.
Haziel?
48.
48. Okay. Without writing all of the numbers, predict the 30th number in your list. Explain your reasoning by completing this sentence, Frank. Okay. So the one we're doing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And step 1, if we multiply the step number times the number of boxes in the first one, 1 times 8 would be 8. And 2 groups of 8 would be 16. 3 groups of 8 would be 24. So do you guys see how the step number times the number on the original gives you how many blocks there or boxes there will be on another step? Stop it, please. So we're multiplying times 8. If we're on the 30th step, how many blocks would that be? Ari? Yes, girl. Yeah. 240. I know the 30th number is 240 because the step number times 8 equals the number, let me write, instead of the number, let's write the area. So, our step number was 30 times 8, which would be 240. Okay. One more page.
Wait, it's actually,
Huh?
oh, they're attached.
What?
They're attached.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. We've got 2 more. That's right, but they go together. Okay. Now, on the next one, you see a little blue box, right?
Yeah.
And on that blue box, on the side, it says 3 inches, and on top it says 5 inches. What would the perimeter of that shape be?
8 inches?
No, that's only 2 of the sides.
Oh,
It would be 16, because remember, if this side is 5, this side is 5, and if this side is 3, this side is 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8, 5 plus 3 is 8, and 8 plus 8 is 16. Remember how we find perimeter? Okay, what would the area be? That means if we drew 3 sections on this side, 5 sections on this side, how many square boxes would there be, Jackson? 15. When you find the area of a figure, the way you do it is multiplying length times width. So let's do this. Let's see if you can do this. Area equals length times width. Let's do length times width. Okay? Area equals length times width. Okay? So, can you imagine them fitting 15 boxes in this little tiny box? They'd be little tiny squares, right? And the area tells us what's inside the figure. So if I go to order carpet for my new classroom carpet tonight, and I go to the carpet store and I'm like, hello carpet man, how are you today? I need carpet for my classroom because some people are trashing my carpet. He's gonna say, what is the square inches or square feet? He's gonna say, what is the square feet of your classroom? He's gonna wanna know the area. So I'm gonna have to measure the length times the width to see how many in feet. So in feet to see how many carpet squares I would need for my classroom. Okay, so the area is inside, perimeter is outside. Now if I go to the store and I want trim that goes along the bottom, then I'm going to need to know the perimeter. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. So under step 1, I want you to write 2 things down. I want you to write a P for perimeter and an A for area. And this is what's going to be on your assignment for today. So, can we find a pattern in perimeter and area? That's what we're going to try to find out. Step 2, I want you to write a P and an A. Step 3, write a P and an A. Step 4, write a P and an A. Okay. It says here are steps 1 and 4 in a pattern of rectangles. One side length of the rectangle increases by 5 units each time. Do you see how this is 3 and this is 3? So that means that in step 2 and 3, that side's also going to be 3, right? But the side length on top is going to increase by 5 each time. So if this one's 5, what's the top of this one going to be?
10. No, 15. 20.
Okay, does that make sense? So let's draw them now. Okay. And so I'm going to make this one, I'm going to try to make it about twice the size of the first one. Then I'm going to write 3 inches and 10 inches. For the next one, I want it to be about this, for step 3, I want it to be about the size of those 2 combined. So 15 inches on top, make sure you label them, and 3 inches on the side. You guys draw those? Okay. So now let's find, we found out the perimeter of this one was 16 and the area was what? 15, because 3 times 5 is 15. Perimeter is in inches. Area is inches squared, because how many squares are we covering the figure with on the inside? With me? You hear that? Perimeters in inches. How many inches do we travel? Areas, how many squares we can cover the inside with. Okay? All right. What would the perimeter of this guy be? Of this step 2?
26.
26, yes. 26 inches. What would the area of step 2 be? Jackson?
25.
No? Haziel? 30. We multiply length times width. So 30 inches squared. Okay. Step 3. What would the perimeter be? Colton?
36.
36, yes. 36 inches, because 15 plus 15 is 30. 3 plus 3 is 6, and 30 plus 6 is 36. Athena, what would the area be?
I have a question.
Okay.
What does the little 2 mean?
It means squared, because when you're multiplying, because we're not just multiplying the 3 and the 10, we're multiplying inches times inches. So we're figuring out how many squares can cover it. So we could write out the word square inches, or we could write it like this, inches squared. and I just think that's shorter. Does that make sense? You can think I've got 2 inches that I'm multiplying there together, so it's inches squared. Good question. Okay, what would be the area of step 3? Devin? So we're multiplying 15 times 3.
35?
Nope. Avis? 45. Think about your clock, Devin. So you know in a clock, if the hand moves from here to here, it's traveled 15 minutes, right? If it travels from here to here, it's traveled 30 minutes, right?
Right.
If it's traveled from here to here, it's traveled 45 minutes because 15 3 times is 45. Okay, so just like with we do 25 with money, think of 15 as time. So 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, so yes, 45 inches squared. What is the perimeter on the last one? Macy?
46.
Yes, girl. 46, because 20 plus 20 is 40, and 3 plus 3 is 6, and 40 plus 6 is 46. And Evan, what is the area of step 4? 60 inches squared, or square inches. Okay. Look at those numbers we've written on step 1, 2, and 3. Let's look at just the perimeter. 16, 26, 36, 46. Do you see a pattern? 16, 26, 36, 46.
Yes.
What are they going up by each time?
6.
10, because they have a 6 in the ones place, right? So to get from 16 to 26, we add 10. Add 10, add 10. What about the area? Do you see the pattern for that, Devin?
They're going by 15.
Yes, they're going up by 15. Good work. Okay. So we did all that work so we can answer these questions. It says write 2 numerical patterns that each represent the rectangles from step 1 to 6. We're going to start by representing the perimeter. And our numerical pattern is 16, 26, 36, 46. What would be next? Shout it out.
56.
Guys, watch. 16, 26, 36, 46, 56, and then
66.
66. Okay. And then for area is the next pattern. So we have 15, 30, 45. What would be next? 60. What would be next? 75. And then 80. 90. Because when we go up by 15, we're going up by a group of 10 and then a group of 5. So from 75, we go up from 75, a group of 10 would be 85, and then 5 more would get us to 90. Okay, for each of the following questions, if you answer yes, show how you know and state the step number. If you answer no, explain or show why not. Could 82 be a side length of a rectangle? Autrey, why not?
It can't be because you're going up by 5 and 82 is not a multiple of 5.
Oh, that was a beautiful answer. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
So the question was, could 82 be one of our side lengths? Well, it definitely couldn't be this side because these are all 3, right? So if you're counting by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on, would you ever say 82?
No.
No, you would say 80, and you would say 85, but you would not say 82 because 82 is not a multiple of 5.
Plus 5 is an odd number and 2 is an even number.
Okay, here's what we're going to write down. No, because 82 is not a multiple of 5. And then, could 300 be the area of a rectangle in this pattern? So, what they're wanting to know is if we kept going. So let me show you, there's a cool way to figure this out using basic facts. Okay, so Devin told us a minute ago that the area is following a pattern of 15, going up by 15 each time. So that means that they want to know if 300 could be one of our areas. So so 15 is what our pattern is going up by, times something. We need to see if 15 times something could equal 300. Can you multiply 15 times anything and get 3? No. 15 times nothing equals 3. Can you multiply 15 times anything and get 30?
Yes.
What would you multiply 15 times to get 30? 2. And then our zeros have to balance. So we've got one extra 0. So on the 20th step, the area would be 300. So here we go. Could 300 square inches be the area of a rectangle in the pattern? Yes. On step 20. Because, and then we're just going to write the equation. 20 times as many as 15 equals 300. And then the other question is referencing perimeter. Our perimeters were 16, 26, 36, 46, 56, 66. Would we eventually say 100?
No.
No.
Because it's 96 and 106, but we don't say 100.
Exactly, because in order to be a perimeter in this pattern, what has to be your ones place digit?
6.
A 6. Okay. So, no. The ones place of the perimeter must be a 6. That's the last one, right?
Yes.
Okay, your practice pages are 113 and 114.